Thank you all so much. And now over to Rabbi Jill Jacobs, the Executive Director of Truah, for some concluding remarks.
I'm Rabbi Jill Jacobs, the Executive Director of Truah, the Rabbinic Call for Human Rights. The journey to the Promised Land is not an easy one. In the Jewish calendar, we're in the period of the Omer, counting day after day and week after week from Pesach to Shavuot. But Shavuot is not the end of the story either. As we celebrate receiving the Torah, we acknowledge that freedom and self-determination come with responsibility. In the Jewish world today, we hear too many people proclaim that they are giving up on Israel or on a two-state solution because it's just too hard to imagine actually getting there. But giving up is an abdication of our moral and spiritual imperative. It's an attempt to jump from Mitzrayim to the Promised Land without accepting the obligations that come with freedom and all the starting and the stopping along the journey. Indeed, it's getting stuck in Mitzrayim, the narrow place, the place of impossibility. When those of us who are committed to human rights give up on Israel or on the possibility of two states, whether with a hard border or in a confederation model, we cede the space to the right wing who have spent decades and billions of dollars to build settlements, to push a racist and anti-human rights agenda, and to ensure that occupation is here to stay. During the 40 years that the Israelites walked through the wilderness, there were thousands of naysayers demanding to give up and to go back to Egypt. But there were other voices as well, the scouts Caleb and Joshua, who were realistic about the struggles ahead and yet urged the people to have faith and to move forward. The generous Israelites who donated their most precious possessions and their talents to building the Mishkan, which would summon God into the wilderness. The priests and Levites who faithfully packed up and rebuilt the Mishkan at every stage. And of course, the young people, the new generation born in the desert, who rejected their parents' despair and who led us to the Promised Land. Every year, the vast majority of the American rabbinical and cantorial students spending their required academic year in Israel take part in Truah's year-long program that brings them into the West Bank and that introduces them to Israeli and Palestinian human rights leaders. One student told me that this experience was the only thing that gave her hope during her year in Israel. Instead of falling into the trap of believing that nothing can change, she met the people who are working to change their own reality, and as a rabbi, she will bring to her future community a commitment that they, too, can be part of this change. She will be a voice saying, "There is a destination, and we are going to get there." Instead of sinking into despair, let's reconnect with the moral and spiritual imperative before us. This community has power. The Progressive Israel Network has power. Together, and in partnership with Israeli and Palestinian leaders, we can end the moral stain of occupation. We can create an Israel in which all citizens are equal, both on paper and in reality. We are not walking away. We are moving forward with faith, with courage, and with leadership. The journey may be long. There will be many obstacles along the way. We will need to invest our money, our time, and our passion. But there is a destination, and we are going to get there together.